Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, listeners, to this number one radio show in the evening, The Third Empires. I am Stephen Matheson, and certainly it is a good evening this evening. I'm looking outside, I'm seeing it's cloudy, but it's not that dark. So, good evening to all those of you who are in your cars on your way home this evening, and those of you who obviously are listening to us outside of Trinidad and Tobago. Today is not necessarily a day of football, so you can understand why I'm saying what I'm saying. A lot more of you will be on air listening to us, and we expect to have a great show this evening. Over the last 2 days, we weren't here. We weren't here for some good reasons. We too got tied up in the euphoria of the football. And although my team, as I would have said on a number of occasions on this program, my team went home a while ago. but I was still backing a team. And that team, I realized that team went home day before yesterday. And the team I wasn't backing yesterday ended up being successful. So we will see what will happen on Sunday in the final game of the World Cup. I do have my predictions, and I just think that the World Cup will turn out very different from what we expect. But that's who I am. I like to go swim against the tide sometimes. I know a lot of you are wearing your blue and white, and you have a different expectation and different ideas of what's going on. But nevertheless, this is Trinidad and Tobago. We are not in the game, and we have our business to see about. So today, there are a number of issues that we would want to, but I should say I for the moment, because it's just myself alone on set today, as thus far. And there are a number of issues I would want to explore. Two in particular that, two and a half that are making the news, and I would want to hear what you, members of the pavilion, have to say about them. Additionally, there are other things, international issues, that we would want to probably put in at some point in time to indicate where we are in Trinidad and Tobago and how these issues may affect us from time to time. So I'm seeing, I wanted to talk a little bit about the issue with the Commissioner of Prisons, Carlos Coraspi, who was allegedly sent on leave. I'm not too sure if it is the leave that, because we when you hear person sent on leave, sometimes it connotates something different to what might necessarily be the situation. And I haven't heard anybody talk about that as yet, because I've heard there's a lot of discourse on the issue. But if you look at the end of that article, you would see where the Homeland Security Minister was saying something to the effect that the man worked hard and he has leave, and he need to have his leave, so he was sent on leave. Now, that sets in some contrast in relation to what some of us might be thinking in relation to it is a leave, and he's under investigation and he may be terminated and that kind of thing. I didn't see that there, but the nature of the article talks about the General Secretary of the Prison Service Association, and that is Mr. Lester Logie, and why he would have done it, or if in fact he had the authority to do it, or if in fact there was a general communique among the Prison Service Association executive allowing for him to do that, and the president of the association would have indicated that was not so. Mr. Gordon would have said that this is the first time when it happened, he heard about the issue, and he did not authorize said letter to the Prime Minister or the Minister of Homeland Security, and that too should be of some concern, because while it was a legitimate concern, the Commissioner of Prisons also, by his powers, also he also had the authority to grant the necessary permission for the Hadids to view the game. That being said, there are a number of issues in that we could discuss, we could explore. I heard today that the Hadids were freed. When I say freed, not freed from charges or anything, but they were sent home. They were taken out of the situation that they were under the PDO, and they are home now in a kind of, this is the last thing I would have heard, and maybe those of you who know more about it could call in and hallucinate further on it. But they were put in a position where they are kind of like under house arrest kind of thing. So that is the situation, and I would probably want to talk a little bit about this particular leave and the circumstances surrounding sending home the commissioner, Mr. Carlos Carraspi. Well, the article was kind of like very straightforward. It indicated the position of the president, Mr. Gordon, and what he said was very, very correct in my opinion. There's a disconnect between what should have happened and what happened, but in both cases, parties had the authority to do certain things, meaning it is all and good for the Prison Services Authority executive to report the matter, but the way it was done, maybe it should not have been done that way. And also, the commissioner also has the authority by himself to grant permission for persons to do things, or give permission for persons to do things that may seem to be out of the ordinary or out of the expectation of the public in these cases. So I would like to hear what you have to say about it, because maybe some of us don't fully understand the powers sometimes of these public officials and what they can do and what they cannot do and that kind of thing. So that is something that maybe we could further elucidate on, or bring some, let's hear what you have to say first, and so that we can give you some ideas as to how things are being done in those circles. Another thing that I'm seeing in the news is the THA, we spoke of this sometime last week. The THA is now facing a lawsuit. As a matter of fact, from the Freedom, Freedom would have served the THA pre-action protocol on the issue. So clearly, this is in relation to the Angelica Jogi's death negligence, which was kind of negligent, and we would have spoke about this a lot last week, but now we have the article before us, and maybe we could have some kind of discussion on it as we go forward. Let me take this call very early. Good evening, caller.
Good afternoon, Mr. Matheson, and good afternoon to your listeners.
Yeah.
Now, Mr. Matheson, this matter with the Hadids is really just all over the place. And based on what happened so far, the police service have nobody to blame but themselves, because we haven't been made aware of anybody else who was afforded the same approach that the police took, as it relates to the approach that they took when it as concerning the Hadiths, right? Under the SOE, they didn't need to apply for any warrants or all those things, but they still went through that, right? And I believe, based on what is in the public so far, that that is the reason why they are allowed to challenge their current detention, because nobody else have been allowed to challenge their detention from not just this SOE, but from any SOE that we have had. The people and them had to wait until the end of the SOE and then take the matters before the court, right? But you see, Mr. Matteson, I really not confused so much, but I real troubled to know that we know that this is what exists in our the structure of our system, and the people who are in power continue to allow these things to happen or not do anything sufficient to really treat with what is going on. But I feel I need to come back in because it's so much I want to say, but I really I need to structure my thoughts a little bit more, and I'll come back in on this matter. But it really disturbing to know that it's different strokes for different folks, and so is how it continues to go in this country. I look to understand, Mr. Matteson.
Okay. Well, if I'm to give you some comfort, it's not really. There has been a number of instances where persons, ordinary prisoners, are given opportunity to do things that that you may not know, you may not know about. The Commissioner of Prisons do have wide powers. He manages the facility, and he could allow for certain things. When you're there, you're under his law. And therefore, he will manage the operations of the prisons as he sees fit, according to the law or within the law. So I don't think he would have done anything different from what he might have done or what any other prison commissioner might have done in the past. Albeit that this particular case, this is a high-profile case, and it was always under a certain kind of scrutiny, especially when we heard that the Hadiths were challenging their detention and that kind of thing. And of course, in this country, who have money to do certain things will do it. So outside of that, they would have done what they would have done, and they would have done what everybody, as a matter of fact, have the right to challenge anything in Trinidad and Tobago. You just had the money to do it, or the attorney who will do it either pro bono or otherwise. But you could challenge anything. I mean, you could challenge almost anything, right? So they have the money to do it, and they do it. They challenge it. But in terms of the allowance of the Commissioner of Prisons to allow for certain things to happen, he too also has, and if you read the article under the article relative to what the Prison Services Association president would have said, he acknowledged that also. So the question is, it was reported, ordinary prisoners, I'm sure, would have gotten that opportunity too, but you wouldn't hear that, right? So I don't know. I don't know what more to say on that, except that it is a national issue, and we in Trinidad and Tobago, we have serious qualification in making everything an issue and it becoming a national issue. So it is what it is, in my opinion. But still, I would want to hear what your concerns are, what you have to say with respect to it, and how we could make some changes to the system to deal with those kind of issues when they come up from time to time. Right? The person who was acting at this time would be Elvin Scanterbury. That's a gentleman I know, by the way. He and I would have had some business relationships years ago. I don't know if he remembered, but that was years ago. That was like in the early 2000s or something like that. But yeah, so I know the gentleman, and I know him to be a very good and upright gentleman as a prisons officer. So he at the moment is at the helm, and I think Trinidad and Tobago Prison Service is in good hands still. The Prison Service Commissioner, Mr. Carlos Coraspi, he is on leave, and from what the minister would have said, he is on leave that he would have acquired, and I am not too sure if he was sent on leave, what we call administrative leave, when there is need to investigate something, but maybe they are doing 2 in 1. I don't know. So if you have the answers to it, if anybody have the answers to it, maybe from the Prison Service Association or whoever, maybe you can call and probably enlighten the public as to what exactly is happening here. I am not sure what is happening, because the minister is saying one thing, and of course the article, and you listen to the news, it seems to be heading down a particular direction, as if the gentleman was sent on leave as some kind of disciplinary procedure. I don't know, but I wait to hear what you have to say, you who might know more than I do on this issue, what you have to say with respect to that. Last week we would have dealt with a lot with, let me take this call again. Yeah, good evening caller again.
Yeah, Mr. Matheson, good afternoon again.
Yeah.
Mr. Matheson, that last piece I think that you spoke about there is just games once again in the country, right? Because we are fully aware that in the history we have had a prisoner coming out and going into a bank on Independence Square, right, to withdraw money. So it's not now that people getting certain privileges, right, while they in care of the state.
That's what I say. I mean, I don't know what that one. I don't know what people coming out and going
on the population of this country, but it will continue to be played because we refuse to position ourselves in such a way where we can stand up and face power and speak truth to it. Everybody wants to be a defender of the red or a defender of the yellow.
Well, listen, caller, listen to me, stay on the line. You see, what I don't want to...
We're in real serious trouble.
What might be... Okay, thank you. What might be an obvious outlier might be a prisoner coming out of prison and going Independence Square and withdrawing money. That to me sounds, that's kind of outlandish for a prison service commissioner to allow. I mean... Remember, when you are sent to the prison, the only authority you have is while you're in the prison. The courts send you there and you have to stay there until the courts say. Unless, of course, you falls within the remit of the rules of the prison and you have time, you will serve time and, that kind of thing. So I think you are allowed certain time outside of what the court would have prescribed. The prison service will say when you come out and that kind of thing. But somebody coming out of prison while they're serving time and going to withdraw money in a bank and that kind of thing, I don't know how possible that is. I know I would have heard a situation like that. That probably might be more a condition for suspension than what would have happened. Because within the prisons, the Commissioner of Prisons would have wide authority to run the prisons in the way he sees fit. And outside of the rules and the policies and that kind of thing, he could say, well, I'm allowing you to go in infirmary, or I'm allowing for you to make certain decisions that on good behavior and that kind of thing, or illness and that kind of thing. So I don't see how that became, as I said, that would have only become an issue that would only have become an issue because this is a very high-profile situation. These are people who are multi-millionaires in trying to Tobago, and a lot of people are saying that if they would have committed crime in any way, they should do the same time or face the same reality that everybody else is facing. But I don't know. I don't know how many other people would have gotten to watch the football in person. I don't know. We don't know. We don't know on what grounds they would have gotten to watch football, and therefore, to me, this is not an issue. But for a lot of people, this might be an issue. I'm almost sure it wasn't only the Hardys that got a television in their own little space to watch TV in prison, to watch the game in prison. So, or if it was by what they said or they're doing that allowed for it. But, I mean, it's an issue outside, and I'd want to hear what you have to say because different people have different opinion on these issues, and sometimes we need to hear it on this program, right? So feel free to call us. And we can probably discuss it as the program as the program go on. But I wanted to talk a little bit about the fact that, and this is something we would have raised, I think it was last week or week before, we would have raised the issue of the impending lawsuit brought by the family of Angelica Jogi, who would have been hit by a jet ski in Tobago, and I think it's Pigeon Point, and killed. And that had become a very serious issue, and clearly it is something that that is now making headlines in terms of this lawsuit. And I want to talk about this lawsuit probably in the next half of the show. Let's take this call. KFC, good evening.
Hello?
Yeah, KFC.
Good afternoon, Marcusson.
Mm-hmm.
Good afternoon, Tony, Professor, who Dr. Liston. Marcusson, it's when you have money. Special treatment for those who actually get a call for this and that. I see the three judges come together and grant them the outside and house arrest.
Mm-hmm.
So what going to mean that now? Because you have lawyers have money, then going to the best lawyers, the best pretty counsel. So
Well, you
when
know,
they sue the state now, who paying for that? My children paying for that all.
KFC, they're not freed of the charges, you know. They're just serving the time somewhere else. Now the thing is, in this country, who are more corn feed more fowl? That's the first thing. And the second thing is, you know, everything is challengeable. That's how law works. So if you have money to challenge it, you can challenge it. If the other people who didn't challenge certain things, the other people who didn't challenge certain things maybe didn't have the money to challenge it, and that is one of the inequitable situation that sometimes befalls the law or the laws in Trinidad and Tobago. Sometimes things are done to you. I was making the case last week about people you driving down you and you're falling in a pothole, you're mashing up the front of your car and that kind of thing, and you having the rights or the authority to sue the state for that. But most people don't do it. It don't happen because people just don't have the money, and a lot of people may see no sense in doing it. But yeah, we
live in that day with the big boys, and the big boys was to deal with the law there. Because I don't know, I just see what the most feel the most foul.
Yeah.
We don't see good now with the poor African black man when they have no money, you have to eat bread, drink pea sauce, and drink level cocoa tea.
What do you mean
level cocoa tea? So I tell the young black African, they try to stay away from crime. Because crime is business, because well, they go put all money for the freedom, but the case still going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Let me say congratulations to Jolene John. I see she was walking about with the workers, and then I find that was a real plus there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the next minister now in charge of the Empower program, she in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
I know she did for the people business, so she go and eat steak, wine, and jam. But I didn't that day. I want you to come out. When I was talking and crying out and saying, we're going out with the workers, so if I could see the rich in the P and them hands, they get that documents. Yeah, since the press conference with Leprechaun?
Yeah, I thought about you.
No, well, I the man don't know what's going on behind closed doors and I find out, but with me, with my true activism and my fearlessness and carelessness, I will really care give a damn, but especially those who like to oppress the poor and in it for their friends and family, because I don't understand how this place is, you know. You know, the whole meeting with all the workers and this and that, the 6, 7, 8 teams. We know so much that workers didn't get paid. But I tell you next week.
But I told you I was...
Next week, Thursday or Wednesday.
But you and I spoke, right?
We'll be waiting to see.
But you and I spoke, right?
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, I'm saying what some getting and some getting pay right now. My former nurse sent it for me because the fortnight finish today is 6, you know. School can open just now, you know.
Yeah, man, you're getting before school.
I can do like I did and them and go and do crime and pay money and pay big judges, big magistrates, big lawyers and them, you know.
Well, bro,
and be under house arrest and eating the best, drinking the best. And that's why Uncle Bruce had to be in jail suffering like dog.
Well, bro, don't do that, eh?
That's why crime had to go on. I hope they pay them workers next week, you know.
Are we going fabric?
So do we. Let's go pay some bills on the street 919 FM.
When every hand start waving, it's KFC a craving. Extra crispy or spicy, it blazing. But don't get left back, you better run down the line and grab a KFC before it's full time. When the games start kick off, fingers get lick off. Lipping pepper, chicken in 3 kinds of sauce. But careful with your tackle, keep your hand on the box. On your red card and point to this one. Now you dip on, you dip on, you dip on, you dip. Get your hand in the action for a ball kick. Yes, you dip on, you dip on, you dip on, you dip. Somebody bring the KFC quick. I'm telling you, get your hands on KFC's extra crispy or spicy popcorn chicken, starting at just $35 or grab the winning combination, 3 pieces of chicken and 4 tenders for $79.95. KFC, it's finger licking good.
You got that document?
TechFlex TT Limited, the #1 computer store in Trinidad and Tobago, has all your tech needs. We have the latest computers, powerful MacBooks, and affordable Chromebooks for school and work, providing new and refurbished options to suit everyone's budget. Also, we carry a variety of printer options and ink solutions for your home and office needs. Need repairs done? Our experienced technicians can solve your tech problems. Visit us now at any of our 2 locations, Wilson Road, Scarborough, next to Royal Castle, or Penco Street, Montrose, Chagonas. Call 235-4919 for more info. TechFlex TT Limited, affordable tech, exceptional service.
Blessings in the wonderful name of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. You are invited to listen to the Final Hour broadcast heard every Monday
from 11 p.m. to 5 a.m. in the morning on the Street 919 FM.
Hear my mom, Pastor Helen Garcia, and myself, Pastor Valentine Garcia Jr., preach the Word of God to the elderly, youth, and children. We can be contacted at 629-0113 or 623-8444. The church is located at 26 Prince Street in Port of Spain. We look forward to you joining us. God bless you.
As my life I lay it on the altar, as my life.
Peace of God be multiplied unto you in the precious name of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. This is Redemption Hour, a gospel program where God will reveal His mind to you on how to live a fulfilled life and to please Him in all areas. Join Pastor Femi Afolabi, the National Overseer of Deeper Christian Life Ministry, Trinidad and Tobago, and other seasoned ministers for a time of divine encounter as they minister and pray for you every Saturday by 9 o'clock in the morning of this station, Street FM 91.9. Our church is Deeper Life Bible Church, #1 Cochrane Street, opposite Tunapuna Police Station, Tunapuna. The times of our services are as follows. Sunday worship service, 9 a.m. Monday Bible study, 6 p.m. Thursday revival hour, 6 p.m. The redemption hour is a life-changing moment you cannot afford to miss. For special prayer or counseling, contact Pastor Femi Afolabi on 778-9933. God bless you as you listen to this program. Jesus is Lord.
When the first whistle blows, your instincts kick in. You grab the bucket, dip, tear, chair, and crunch down for every finger-licking good play. KFC Popcorn Chicken is back in the game. So get your hands in the action with extra crispy or spicy popcorn chicken starting at just $35. Try it with our winning sauces and get your hands messy with the drip. Or get the winning combination, 3 pieces of chicken and 4 tenders for $79.95. To satisfy every craving during game time, it must be KFC.
KFC onion rings, bring the sauce, Come to the crunch like a boss, Add a ring, show me onion ring, in the ring, ding. Show me your onion ring, it's a ring, ding. Yes, it's a brand new thing called onion ring. Level up your order. Onion ring, chicken sandwich full of flavor. Add a ring to your toaster. Somebody better go and tell the neighbor. Add a ring, show me onion ring, in the ring, ding. Show me your onion ring, it's a ring, ding. Yes, it's a brand new thing called onion ring.
Show off your ring at KFC with the new onion ring chicken sandwich for $34.95, or get a regular side of rings for just $15.
Upgrade your main meal and your side piece too. KFC onion rings are on the menu. Add a ring, in every ding. Add a ring, KFC onion rings.
KFC, show me your ring.
Share the live. The Street 919 FM on Facebook and Instagram. Share the live. Iowa George on Instagram. Share the live. Iowa TV and Street TV on YouTube. Share the live. The Street 919 FM.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Listeners, if you are online now or were listening to what we were talking about just before the break, you can certainly call us on 342-0081 or 466-5391 and engage me on conversation relative to the Hadith release and also the situation that would have ended in the Commissioner of Prisons being sent on leave after the World Cup semi-finals game. Him being allowed to watch the Hadiths being allowed to watch the game. Right? So you would have read on the newspapers what would have happened. You would have read on the newspapers what the president of the Prison Service Association would have had to say relative to the letter that was sent from the General Secretary. And you would have also read what he had to say relative to the position and the powers of the Commissioner of Prisons. So, that being said, we can have those kind of discussion. Now, there's another issue that I wanted to discuss, and I was saying just before we went on the break that that is the impending lawsuit coming out of the Freedom Law Chambers by the family of Angelica Jogi and her death, that tragic death after an accident in Tobago. It is said that the gentleman was arrested some hours after. The gentleman who was riding a jet ski was arrested some hours after the incident, and he was charged, or he was arrested and questioned. I'm not too sure if he was charged and has to appear before the court as yet, but certainly there was no appearance before the court or anything thus far. These things take some time, but of course the family has already issued a pre-action protocol, and I'm sure they're asking for certain things, and I want to hear what you have to say, because that pre-action protocol didn't necessarily go to the, but I'm not too sure if it went as a co-defendant to the gentleman that was involved, was driver who was riding the jet ski, and probably his the company that rented him the jet ski. But I know for one the Tobago House of Assembly is being sued, and clearly that is something we would want to discuss. I know we discussed it a lot the last time, but I would want to talk about it again. Good evening, caller. Good evening.
Hello, good day.
Yeah, good evening. I'm hearing you.
Good evening, Stephen. How are you doing?
Vivian, what's happening?
Hello, good day. Yeah, good evening. I'm hearing you. Good evening. Yeah. Vivian, yeah. How are things going?
Yeah, good so far. Talk to me.
Well, we seen. Hold on. Well, we seen.
Vivian, your radio. You had to turn on your radio in the background.
What is going on with the news with Hadid?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yeah, I turn it down. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we see what is going on with Hadid and his wife.
Mm-hmm.
And well, we see once you have the personal wealth and you have the right lawyers, I'm not saying anything wrong was done. The lawyers and the judges would have found what Hadid lawyer would have said would have made sense, and we see that they've been freed.
But Vivian, before you go
have
further,
no problem with that because
before you go further,
the government said
before you go further,
that
Vivian,
they committed these crimes and did not bring out the facts and charge them. I personally have no problem with them being sent home until whenever their case is called. That is one. You know, how they're going to work around making sure there are no cell phones and no phones and no contacts, because there were a lot of stipulations for the Hadids, because really and truly they're supposed to be in jail. According to the government, they're home. So certain criteria must be met where they would not have the freedom that they would have had before. All right. So I personally have no problem with the Hadis being sent to home. How that will affect the other persons who have been held under PDUs, is left to be seen. So,
well, Vivian,
I expect that a lot of lawyers will be filing whatever matters to maybe try and free their clients.
If I may, are you hearing me?
That is one. What was the other matter you were talking about besides the Hadid matter?
Well, are you hearing me?
Are you hearing me?
No, I'm asking you if you hear me. Because I've been trying to speak for some time now, and apparently you're not hearing me properly. So I am hearing you, but you are not hearing me certainly. But what I wanted to see.
Hello.
You see, you're not hearing me. I don't know why. Yeah. So maybe you could listen to me on your radio. What I wanted to say is that while the Hadid would have gone to court and they would have won the opportunity to serve the time outside, anybody could do that. Anybody with a lawyer or with the money to be able to do that, any one of them inside there with the lawyer and with the reason could do that. It is just that maybe it is not happening because persons who are inside or who are presently in custody, they don't have the wherewithal or the financial wherewithal to be able to do it. But anybody could do that. The thing is, that has little or nothing to do with the government or anything per se. That has everything to do with the due process and people access to justice and that kind of thing. And maybe that's one of the failings of the law in Trinidad and Tobago. It is very expensive, and it is very expensive sometimes to access things that you would think that you should be able to access. And once you have the funds to pay the attorneys to be able to go to court to make your argument, and your argument is compelling before a judge, I think the judges in most cases, will have no other alternative but to do what they need to do, right? That doesn't cast any aspersion in any way on the state and what the state would have done. The law is the law, right? Good evening, caller. Caller, good evening. I don't know if it's this phone, but anyway, so I was saying that has little to do with the state or the prosecution's case or anything like that. The PDO and the act that makes it possible to arrest persons and hold them for a certain amount of time under the state of emergency, it's clear, right? You can't do that without the evidence, but with a suspicion or with knowledge of certain things before you arrest the person. Before you charge the person. So you could be held without charge for up to 3 months under the state of emergency. And therefore, that's the law, as it is right now with respect to this. You can challenge it, however. If you have a good case, the court will hear you and you will have the same experience, and the money, of course, you will have the same experience as the Hadiths. Good evening, caller.
Good afternoon again, Mr. Matheson. You know, I have a little challenge with the statement of financial resources being the reason why. Though it might be, but I have a challenge with accepting that, because the law of this country states that if you cannot afford legal representation, one will be provided to you by the state. So I'm putting myself in that situation. Let me say I don't have the financial resources, but the state affords me a lawyer. And with my little diploma in law, I decide to instruct my lawyer how to proceed with my matter and take all the avenues that was taken by the Hadiths, right? Is it that I would still be successful before the courts? Because the matters are the same, where my complaint will be the same, and I will have all the same excuses.
No, you may not.
We in serious
caller, you may
Mr.
not.
Matheson, because the way how this SOE is structured and put forward, it doesn't suggest that persons are allowed the opportunity to bring anything before the courts until the end of the SOE.
Caller.
But just the mere fact that the police initiated this process with of the Hadiths by going and acquiring warrants and what have you, and then later on in the process in the matter, then they choose to go to the PDO to use that. I believe that is the reason, and that is where the lawyers of the Hadiths have grounds to go before the court and ask for things to be sped up and all these different things. Because the law is not presented in that manner where persons on PDO have the right or privilege to go before the court at any time before the SOE is finished.
Caller,
and the law not supposed to be looking at things based on the wealth of a person. So I have a serious challenge accepting that, though it might be actually what is going on, because it have many instances where it suggests that is really what continues to happen in the country. Based on your financial position, you could basically get away with murder. You understand? But we are in serious trouble, serious trouble, because I do not see things getting any better. I am not seeing any efforts by the people in charge to make any changes to make sure that certain things cannot continue in the country. People they'll always leave in a loophole, and they know the reasons why. I look forward to listening, Matthew.
Yeah, thank you. I realized this evening, for whatever reason, I'm not able, the callers are not hearing me. I'm hearing you. I guess the country is hearing you, listeners are hearing you, but I am not able to engage you, right? And I wanted to say that I don't want to promote any cycle of ignorance in issues like these, because one of the things I don't want is to be said that, Matheson knows better, and he is not telling the callers that that is not how things work, right? So clearly, the Hadids would have gone to court. I didn't see the details, but they would have gone to court with an issue. It may not necessarily be how they were arrested or the fact that they were arrested, right? Because I think if they had done that, it would not have gone anywhere, right? The law provided for them to be arrested the way they were arrested. They would have gone with an issue as a reason why they should not be incarcerated at this time, and maybe they prefer to be incarcerated, serve their time at home or in a more comfortable space. And that one of those reasons, from what I would have seen before, is particular illness or something to that effect. Anybody in a situation like this, I am sure, could challenge the state and challenge the detention based on certain specific things, right? If you have the question is whether or not you have the finance to get the kind of attorney who will do that kind of thing for you, right? Or whether that attorney will do it on pro bono or not. But yes, it could happen. It could be challenged. These things could be challenged, but you have to have a reason to challenge it. You have to have a good case. And if you have a good case and the court, the judges see it, the learned judges see it, look at it and examine it, they are entitled to make a decision which may go against the decision of the state. So that is the independence of the court. This have nothing to do with the state. This have nothing to do with the fact that, except that the people have money to challenge it. But it have little or nothing to do with the charge or anything like that. We have to understand that the detention order is the detention order. And so we could have that discussion, but I just wanted to know the cycle of ignorance here, and it really doesn't, it just fuels the other thing, right? The dividing factor is who have and who don't have, right? That's what we should be talking about. Who have to be able to access the judicial system in the way they're accessing it, and who don't have it. So the other people probably just don't have it, or they don't want to spend that kind of money to do that at this time. But it doesn't mean that they can't. And that's the question that's what we had to be talking about. That's what we had to discuss. So to cast aspersion that the law do something that it should not have done, or it favors and favoritism, nah. It have to do with the fact that these people have money to be able to do that, and they do it. If, when the time comes, when they are charged, the court has good evidence, prima facie or otherwise, and they go before the court and they are charged for a particular something, the court will look at it and the court will decide whether they are guilty or not. Again, and if you don't agree with it, you have a problem with it, then you could go to the Court of Appeals, and then if you still don't agree with the answer you get, you could go to the Privy Council. But that's just how the law works. You had to have the money to do it. And you would get there. Or not. So, I'm locked on. Well, you'll be locked on and listen. I am here, and you can call me on 342-0081 or 466-5391. And let's hear what you have to say. Don't misunderstand how the system works. There's a separation, right? We've seen many times where the government would have done things and persons ask for judicial review, and that simply means they're asking for the court to decide, to look at it again and decide whether or not it is right, or if the system has the authority to do so. Or they would have sued the state, or they would have asked the court to decide on something. And when that happens, because of the separation of power, the independence of the court now have the authority to overturn the decision of the state or any institution of the state. That's the role of the court. And if you don't have that kind of system, then what you would have is chaos. You would have people taking advantage of people and that kind of thing. And yes, persons are being taken advantage of in the system, but they, at some point in time, too, will have the authority to challenge it. Good evening, caller, again.
Hey, Matheson,
Yeah.
you hearing?
Yeah, I'm hearing you.
Hello, good day.
Yeah, I'm hearing you.
I would like to talk about the Prison Officers Association, and where we see that the General Secretary took it upon himself to write to the Commissioner of Police of Prisons, or whoever else it was, I don't know if it's the minister or whoever he wrote to, talking about Hadid and they watching the football, while being incarcerated. And then when we hear the man in charge of the prison, the president, saying that no authority was given to do that, the executive was not informed of what the General Secretary did. So the question we asking is that who encouraged the General Secretary in whatever way to do such a thing to, again, squeeze Mr. Hadid and his wife, because, all protocols were broken in that situation, according to the president of the association, and the question to ask why it was done and who may have encouraged this to be done. We really in a sad state. We have the police in problem. I personally have no problem if the Commissioner of Prisons has certain authority to take care of his prison and he gives certain directive. We all know that there will always be some inmate who might be good, who might be allowed to watch the football, So I personally have no problem with that. What I would like to know is who encouraged that General Secretary in whatever way, by whatever means, to do what he did.
But it doesn't look as though anybody.
Because I know you can't hear me, and I prefer to hear you on the TV.
Yeah. It doesn't look to me like anybody encouraged him. I think he was on an excursion by himself. If we listen to we look at what was said in the newspapers by Gordon, the president, it looks as though that gentleman was on an excursion by himself, and he probably would have released the letter to the Prime Minister and the Minister of Homeland Security. But if you read the article, you will see where in the end you will see where the Minister of Homeland Security would have indicated that the gentleman have leave, and he was allowed to go and take his leave. So it looks to me, I don't know. Usually in the workplace when something happens, and you want to investigate the situation, you want to investigate the officer who did what happened. You send the officer on leave. Sometimes we call it administrative leave. Or we suspend him. Right? And we send him on leave with pay, of course. And you investigate the matter, and following the investigation, usually very quick, you make a decision as to what could happen. If you want to charge the officer with something and bring him before a tribunal, or you want to end the show because you didn't have any prima facie evidence to do so. That is not the impression I got here, because at the end of the day, they said they give a time for which the gentleman is on leave. I think I saw 4 months, and that is leave that the commissioner would have accumulated. So I don't think it's pre-retirement leave or anything like that. So it will be difficult to. I am confused as a professional looking at this. I am confused as to whether or not the man was suspended, or whether he was just asked to take his leave. And they have two different connotation. They says two different things. Even if what you listen to what the minister had to say, it doesn't say that the gentleman was, it doesn't in any way indicate to me as though he was suspended when you say that he has leave and you ask him to take it, because then it wouldn't, in that case, it wouldn't be leave on the convenience of the organization per se. It would be your leave you're taking, and then that cannot be suspension, because if you are taking your leave, we just paying you for your leave. If we sending you home on leave, then we have to pay you outside of the leave that you have, because you ain't taking that not your leave. That is they're giving you that leave, right? Which is sometimes called administrative leave. So it's two different things. Sometimes the public read things and sometimes they don't understand fully. They're not able to analyze it. And on this show, we try to analyze it. We try to break it down for you. And clearly, well, I am confused when I listen to what people have to say, when I listen to what the news had to say about the gentleman being suspended and he's being sent on leave and that kind of thing. That connotates a different thing. So I am listening. I want to hear what you have to say. 342-0081 or 466-5391. Maybe you can call me and give me a different spin on it, how you feel about it, and we will take it from there. Good evening, caller.
Hello?
Yes, good evening.
Hello?
Yes, good evening. I'm hearing you.
Matterson?
Yes, I'm hearing you, caller.
This thing is a mess. You're getting one letter from the General Secretary, correct?
Yes.
And you're getting another letter from the President of the Association. Am I right?
Well, I think so. I think
you think so?
I think he would have written saying that he didn't know about it.
Correct. No, something wrong somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
I confused just as you. You understand? But so much of that. You had these people and them. You hear me?
I'm hearing you.
What they was ever charged?
No.
So what are you doing there?
Well, the PDO allows for a person to be charged under the state of emergency.
Stop. You're still saying charge.
Sorry, for a person. Sorry, my bad. For a person to be held under the state of emergency up to, I think it's 90 days, or the duration of the state of emergency.
So what made them? They said something or did something contrary to the law?
Well, yes, the government would have said that they would have it's a kind of not sedition, but not attempted murder, but they would have been planning and plotting to kill a public official.
Okay, so it means to say the government has to have intelligence that is controlled.
Yes, the government said that they have credible evidence. Yes.
Oh well, but they didn't bring it public as yet.
No.
So if these people didn't have them lawyers, if there wasn't that status in the community, in the island, they would have remained in there.
Well, it's not status. It's money.
Well, I didn't want to say.
It's money. And this is what I'm saying to the other callers. It's not status, it's money. If you have the money to challenge it, take a challenge it.
So all the rest of the fellas who they have under that same PDO thing, who don't have money to take a lawyer of that magnitude, they're sucking salt.
Well, sometimes it's not that you don't have money. You might rather hold your money to deal with the other challenge, which is what may come after. So, but if you have deep pockets in Trinidad and Tobago,
you're mixing me up here.
If you have deep pockets in Trinidad and Tobago, you can challenge anything.
Hold on, they're telling me they will hold the money even though if they have. For the challenge to come after. What is the challenge coming after?
Well, if you holding me and you ain't charge me, right? But it has something that you could charge me for. I will have to challenge that at some point in time.
I'm trying to follow you, and learn from where you're telling.
And remember also that I'm glad we're having this discussion. Remember also the Hardy's case might be unique or different from the other people's situation.
How?
because they could plead that they're ill, or they have some kind of medical condition or something, and therefore,
U.S. people who say they can't see the sickness.
We don't know. I don't know, of course, but I mean, the thing is how to prove you don't be just sick.
All right, I know. I just
right. But what I'm saying is, it may have other sick people too, but they might not have the money to challenge the situation.
You and I know is money talking here.
Well, but this is what I'm saying. That's what I've been saying all evening.
And here what
is that what money is?
Here what happening? I feel the state bonds ahead in this one.
Okay.
I'm gone.
Okay. Okay, thank you, caller. So you would have heard the discourse of the last caller, and maybe you can call so that we can further elucidate on this particular issue. The last caller said he feel the state bongs ahead on this. What we had to understand is that we're under a state of emergency, and there is a preventative order, detention order, that is legislated, which allows for the state to arrest you under suspicion or something to that effect, or under a case where you're a gang leader, or you're disturbing the peace or whatever, and they can hold you for a certain period of time, right? Maybe I would pull that up and probably read it for you, and that period is 90 days, which is not what necessarily happened when we are not under a state of emergency, right? Everybody could be held like that. Anybody who the state have evidence of, or the state have information on relative to that, could be held, and then they could make a case sometime down the road. And that is what allows for the government or the state to be able to do what to do. But you could challenge it. Hello?
Yeah, Mr. Matteson.
Yeah.
This talk about money being the driving factor, as I say, though it might be true, it really not sitting well, because based on the Constitution, if you take a state lawyer, right? Because you can be provided that if you cannot afford to get a lawyer for yourself, right? If you take that, but you are abreast of the law and the procedures and whatnot, and you instruct your lawyer to file the required filings in the court and go through and follow through with your matter, right? Are you saying that because if I don't have the finance, I will not be able to experience what the Hadid is now experiencing?
No, that is not what I'm saying.
If I know my way around the laws, and I take a state lawyer, a state attorney, right, and let the state attorney put forward my case in the same manner, whether I'm suffering from diabetes or what have you, whatever sickness it is it that I am not sure to have the same outcome?
Of course,
if the facts are similar in nature,
of course,
in terms of what I bring in before the court.
Of course not. Of course, you will have the same outcome.
That is very hard to accept, because we are saying that.
Yeah, caller, I don't know if you're not hearing me properly. You're not hearing when we are talking, because we're having a little dialogue, right? And I'm saying, of course, you can. Anybody could challenge anything. The Hadid situation might have been a unique situation. I don't think it was only illness that they would have challenged. But you could challenge whatever you bring a case to the court. You have the money to do it. You bring a case to the court. I'm sure the court will listen to it, and they will determine whether or not you deserve to be out or in a situation like this, right? So this is not something unique. This is not something that happened only because the people had money. They obviously presented a good case to the court, and the court dealt with it accordingly, and the judges would have give a ruling on it, and I'm sure it will be made public at some point in time, if it isn't made public as yet. But I'm saying that to be able to do that, while anybody could do that, sometimes lawyers, it costs a lot to do it. And if you don't have the money to do it, you just wouldn't. You could be as innocent as whatever, or have a good situation or not. You wouldn't get an opportunity to bring it before the court. That's what I'm saying. So I'm not saying in any way that it have anything crooked by the court or anything crooked by the government or anything like that, because the people is probably multi-millionaires or whatever. It has little or nothing to do with that. It has to do with the fact that it had to come before the court. And if it come before the court and the court looks at it, right, sometimes the means of getting into the court is the problem, because you have to have the money to take it there. And that's it. That's just it. So, and that's how we had to see it. It ain't no rocket science in this. None. No rocket science. You just have to be able to get there. Right? So, and I'm sure some of them guys who inside are happy, because nobody is shooting at them. They're safe. They're inside. Well, I don't know if safe is a word I want to use, but they're inside. Hello, caller.
Matterson.
Good evening.
Matterson?
Mm-hmm.
Well explained.
Huh?
You explain it properly.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And thanks for that.
Yeah.
But don't talk about them fellas inside and nobody is shooting at them. Don't do that.
Yeah, qualified. Yeah, qualified. They might be safe to an extent.
Oh gosh, please don't do that.
They might be safe to an extent.
Explain the thing well, right?
Yeah. Take care.
I just tell you know.
Yeah.
I'm living on that state of emergency. I don't know why now.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, a state of emergency. After you finish explaining that again, it is a serious affair.
Of course it is. Of course it is.
And I want to believe that how you explain that day, we didn't see that showing.
They don't. But I say that you must say as a suspension of your rights under the Constitution.
Matterson, tell me, you could get locked up and talk in the station, they would come and carry you down.
Of course. Of course that could happen.
That's clear.
It's clear.
I'm born.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's a suspension of your rights for a period of time. Your constitutional rights. So understand what it is. Right? Understand what it is. So, people, if you don't understand what it is, think it's a serious thing. It is a serious thing. And if you have money, as we say, as the Hardy did, they might be able to challenge it and get through. Good evening, caller.
Yeah, good evening, Mr. Mark.
Yes, good evening.
I won't be long. I will be very short. I'm not going very deep into those matters.
Mm-hmm.
But the issue with the commissioner, I heard you spoke about suspension. There's a distinction between suspension and administrative leave.
Yes.
So that, I think that must be cleared up. Because when you on suspension, it has to do with discipline. You have
correct
punishment and all that kind of thing.
Correct.
When as you rightly explained early on in your program, when you are sent on administrative leave, it means that there's some matter, but the allegation be made against him, and they would be investigated into it.
Mm-hmm.
So they need to, for some reason, to keep you away from the office that you hold.
Correct.
Right? For fear that you might interfere with the proceedings and all that. So there's a distinction between a suspension.
No. Sorry. I think you're saying it a little wrong. There's a distinction between leave and administrative leave or suspension.
Well, no. Well, what happened here is this. Mm-hmm. You said suspension.
Yeah.
And I am saying, when I heard on the news, the minister saying that the commissioner was sent, I could be wrong, on administrative leave.
Mm-hmm.
And I am saying that I heard you said that you spoke about suspension and administrative leave and leave. Oh. And I am saying that either you send the person, either you suspend the person, or you send the person on administrative leave.
Okay, so
and that he was sent on administrative leave.
Okay, so
which is distinct from suspension.
Well, okay, so you qualifying it, but you know there's a different understanding for me, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Now, if you in the workplace and you do something that is contrary to the policies and practice in the workplace, and therefore the company would have investigated it or wants to investigate it, they could do one out of two things. And sometimes we use the word loosely, but they could send you on suspension with pay, or sometimes they call it administrative leave. Right? So I don't know if the minister, what he was referring to, but he did say something. And the something I got from what I read on the newspapers was that the gentleman have leave and he's entitled to it. So we send him on it.
Yeah, well he probably would have heard that.
Right?
But you would have heard that. I didn't hear that.
Okay.
And what I'm saying also is that this commissioner is not the first commissioner that was sent on administrative leave.
Correct.
Over the last 2 or 3 years, there was a prison commissioner who was sent on administrative leave.
Right.
And administrative leave is quite common.
Mm-hmm.
You had Justice Crane sometime in the 80s or 70s. He was sent on administrative leave.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And it is for reasons, good reasons.
Yes.
Right? In terms of facilitate and investigation,
yes,
without the interference of the holder of the office.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to talk again about this. So that is where I will go. But the question of the Hadid and those people, I don't think that the issue has been properly identified.
Mm-hmm.
First, what was the issue before the court? And we proceed from there. What was the issue before the court? What was the issue that the appeal court decided?
Well, what I gathered, and what I think it was made public too, was that these persons were alleged to have been plotting to kill, right? And there was an investigation into it. I think the government said that they had the recording and all that kind of thing. That, in my opinion, if that is so, under a state of emergency, is reason to detain someone.
All right, but what I'm saying, Mr. Matheson, remember you have a substantive matter before the court.
Mm-hmm. Well, you mean the matter with respect to the lease and thing?
With what?
Huh?
The matter with respect to what?
The lease?
No, I am talking about, because what the court did is that they removed him from the prison,
mm-hmm.
and instead of detaining him in the prison, he said, well, look, you could stay at home.
Mm-hmm.
We put chains on you.
Yeah, but
right?
uncle and man, he kind of like under house arrest kind of thing.
Right. So that was the only thing. But what brought about that? Because that is what the court decided, to remove him from the prison.
Well, what brought about that? What brought about that is exactly what I just said. If the state, under a state, remember, a state of emergency has a lot to do with the suspension of some of your constitutional rights, right? And therefore, there was a PDU, right? That was an act of parliament. Now, in this case, what you have is a situation where if the state has information that you might be part of a gang, or you might be dangerous to the state, or you might be planning to do something, like in the case of what they would have accused the Hadis with, the state has the authority under that state of emergency and the PDU to suspend their rights and take you up. In this case, the state would have gone even further and go to a judge and get a warrant to do that. It means that it means that they had some kind of information, prima facie or otherwise, to be able to do so. Right?
Was he saying that, or were they saying that because of the conditions in the prison, was it because that they were sick, they were ill, right? And all these things that they ought not to have been, or in fact, some consideration should be given to them being not kept in the prison.
I think instead of saying ought not, maybe some consideration should be given. That's what the argument might have been brought to the court with respect to their lawyers and that kind of thing. And other things. I think there was something else too to that. But yeah, I mean, if you have what it takes, you have the same condition and you have the finance to challenge that, you may be able to do so.
Well,
nothing the government or anybody could do about it.
Yeah, what I'm saying is that I'm not in a position to clearly identify the issue that the appeal court decided today. But what I'm saying, it appears to me that they were complaining about conditions in the prison, and that their health would deteriorate in health. And I want to believe that you're saying, well, look, listen, they ought not to be kept in the prison because of their condition. Instead, we would allow them to spend the time at home. So it seems to me that came out of the issue that went before the court. That is what was decided.
Right. So I don't have all the information on that. I didn't see it, what happened today. And today was a very busy day for me. But what I could say is that was something that was percolating in the system, in the news and that kind of thing before. So it is probably reasonable to say that was the reason why they were sent home.
Yeah, I suspect that was the reason that they were, instead of prison, they were ailing. They weren't getting whatever it is and whatnot, and they decided, right.
But the normal man now would be listening to that, listening to us and listening to that and saying, well, what about the other people who are inside there and who may have similar situation? Well, they have to bring it to the court also.
Well, not just that. You see, the perception that you have equal treatment before the law. But the rule of law says that every man is subject to the overriding claims of the law.
Yes.
I can bring you. Yes. And what I'm saying is that.
But to go to the court, you had to have representation, and to get the representation, you had to have money.
Yes, but when I make a decision in my house with respect to somebody, even though I don't go to court, you take the number of things that you would take into consideration.
Okay.
You have people, those people who cannot afford, and they are in prison too. I don't know if that, so I'm talking in a broad sense, because that is how I think, and I always refer to the more developed world, how they see things. Sometimes they could operate in a skewed manner. But you have to take, those people who can ill afford, not because they can't afford, you must suffer. And those who could afford, no, regardless to your status, your economic, social, and political status. And then we talk about, and you come back, and I always use this thing about George Oswald Orwell. With respect to Animal Farm.
All men are equal, but some are more equal than others.
Right, and that is the perception.
But that's real. That's real.
That is the perception in that would bring about. I am not getting too deep into these things, because I know the consequences and the implication.
Yeah.
So it was nice speaking with you, Mr. Mattison.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, I mean, at the end of the day, it's all about who have more corn will obviously feed more fowl. Right? That's what it is about. That is what it is about. Don't think it is about nothing else. It is about that. If you have more corn, you feed more fowl. So just think about it like that. Anything could be challenged. Anything. A man could say anything about you and you could challenge it. Right? It has some things the court just may not allow because it is frivolous, it doesn't make sense. But good evening, Vivian.
Hey, Stephen, how you?
Right, you hearing me better now?
I hear you.
Right. Maybe that is the phone you was calling on. Yeah.
No, but other people are having the same problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was reading on the social media earlier, where it said that the court held that vague reliance on intelligence without explaining how it supported an ongoing conspiracy or developing plan, arguable, failed to satisfy the statutory preconditions for preventive detention.
All right.
So the couple of things that I heard, I think I saw a Guardian, but I lost it on social media somewhere, is not, I don't think it's the medical is the issue as far as I'm seeing. So you say the government, whoever says, or the police says that the Hadi did so and so, but they bring no proof to say that what you are saying is correct. And the court is saying, hey, no, the PDO isn't thing, but because the police has been so vague, we release them.
Good. And that's what I'm saying.
Now, remember, this went to the appeal court. If anybody comes with a similar line of defense, most likely they will also win their cases.
Of course.
Also, because these lawyers did their research, because had the lawyers have the money and the intelligence and the know-it-all to do the research, it will be easier for Vivian Johnson to represent Stephen Matheson at another case along the same line, not costing as much money.
Correct.
You know, so this may be a loophole for other persons who are being held under the PDOs, maybe to be released, if what I am saying is that it's true that the intelligence was vague.
Because the PDOs, Vivian, the PDO will have a criteria in it. And if you don't meet the standard,
you know it's vague, Madison.
If you're vague and they don't meet the standard for holding somebody under that, then of course the court could say that that arrest does not necessarily meet the standard to based on the situation what you would have bring. And this is why I said prima facie or other, because I don't think they necessarily need prima facie evidence at this stage to hold somebody under the PDO. But of course, you would need to be able to say something as to why you have held somebody on the PDO and prove it. And this is what the court is saying. No, it didn't meet the standards in the case of the Hadids.
Yeah, but you see where it reached the Court of Appeal. Not everybody can reach there so fast.
This is what I'm saying. And that's what I was telling the other callers. You had to have the finance to do that. They have long arms and they could do that. But it doesn't say in any way for the callers who are listening that the Hadids are out of the woods. They aren't.
No, they're not.
They aren't out of the woods because they're not charged yet, and they could be charged. Right? So don't for the people who might be thinking, and arrested too. Because then when they charge, of course, it would meet the standard for the charge. They would obviously have the prima facie evidence, and it would have gone to the DPP, and the DPP would have made a decision to charge, and therefore you would have to face the court.
Yeah. I mean, we wait and see on that. Because the police service has shown that once they have to deal with intelligence and forensics, they will lose the case. That's proof.
Yeah,
that's
because
proof
we talk about that.
We
talk about that on this program all the time, and it have to do. I see right now a lot of recruiting going on and that kind of thing. But even with that, I always say you recruit based on a strategy. You recruit based on, before you start to recruit, you know what you're looking for, because you have a vision and a mission and a strategic objective and a strategy. Where you want to go, where you want to solve, what you want to do, and what kind of people you want. And therefore, if you are recruiting police officers, you should at least know what kind of police officers you want, where you want to go, how much you want to reduce crime by, what kind of crime is difficult to get prosecuted, and all that kind of thing. And you have to recruit the kind of people that might be able to assist in that. But if you're just recruiting people under the same system and the same laws and the same tool levels and all that kind of thing, hey, you ain't really going nowhere. You're just creating jobs for police officers to drive around and mash up $1 million vehicles and things.
All
right. So that's something that's something we've been talking about on this program.
Yeah.
And that certainly is that's a challenge we have in Trinidad and Tobago. We just seem not to be able to understand the principles of human resource management, and that's what we manage in Trinidad and Tobago, human beings, right? Unless, of course, it's robots you buy from China to do policing and that kind of thing. That might do a better job. Buy 1,000 robots, pay probably about 100,000 for each one of them, and you might get more policing, better policing, and you might lose more, you might lose less. Right? And maybe, I'm just trying to be facetious here. You might solve some problems, at least more than what the police is solving now. Right? Yeah. But you could call me back on the other side of the hour, going for a break now to pay some bills, and when we come back, we could have a different kind of discussion.
You've got bills to pay, and so do we. Let's go pay some bills on the street 919 FM.
Join us.
Strictly local radio show, blazing the best positive hits out of TT. Hottest radio show.
Welcome. You are now locked in.
Every Saturday, 6 to 8 p.m., blazing the very best in Trinbago music and more, sending the heartbeat of the Twin Islands straight to the world.
This service is a massive communication product that aims to provide a new media platform for local TT entrepreneurs.
You're now locked into one of the hottest radio shows. Send us your voice notes or call in live and rep your district. Whether you're in East, West, North, South, or Sweet Tobago, this is your show, your sound, your culture. Hottest radio show. Strictly local, hosted by the one and only DJ Flex 868. Don't miss it. Every Saturday, 6 to 8 p.m. Only on the streets 91.9 FM. The vibes, the culture, the sound of Trinbago.
We blaze all the best in TT. Hashtag rep your district.
Hi there, I'm Lester Sublal, inviting you to join me on the first, second, and third Saturday, 8:30 p.m. to 11 p.m. for the program Slow Gospel Music, and on the fourth and fifth Saturday from 8:30 p.m. for an extended version of Slow Gospel Music on Street 91.9 FM.
KFC onion rings, bring the sauce, come to the crunch like a boss, Add a ring, show me onion ring, in the ring, show me your onion ring, is a ring, yes, it's a brand new thing called onion ring. Level up your order, onion ring, chicken sandwich full of flavor, add a ring to your toaster, somebody better go and run tell the neighbor. Add a ring, show me onion ring, in the ring, show me your onion ring, is a ring, yes, it's a brand new thing called onion ring.
Show off your ring at KFC with the new onion ring chicken sandwich for $34.95, or get a regular side of rings for just $15.
Upgrade your main meal and your side piece too. KFC onion rings now on the menu. Add a ring in every ding. Add a ring, KFC onion rings.
KFC, show me your ring.
Share the live. The Street 919 FM on Facebook and Instagram. Share the live. Iowa George on Instagram. Share the live. Iowa TV and Street TV on YouTube. Share the live. The Street 919 FM.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, so you can join us again. We paid some bills there, and the discussion is on. You can call us on 342-0081 or 466-5391. I want to talk a little bit again about the Angela issue, and to a large extent how it relates to a number of other things relative to negligence. Sometimes again, and if we go back to what we were talking about, why this here? If we go back to what we were talking about earlier on in relation to how matters are brought to the court and your rights as citizens, you would see a lot of areas where sometimes the state can be held negligent in causing things to happen to citizens, and because this is a normal citizen suing the Heritage Park and the THA for negligence. They are saying that the THA ought to have known that this incident could have happened, which took the life of Angelica Jogi, and they are saying also that the state ought to have known that because a previous incident would have taken place before. The state should have provided the necessary buoys and that kind of thing to protect persons from coming over into areas where bathers are. And all these things sometimes we take for granted, but they are serious, very serious. And it falls under an area of law we call tort law, but negligence is serious. And sometimes I was making the comparison probably about 2 weeks ago, where I spoke about you driving down the road and you fall in a pothole that was, or you dodged from a pothole and you went into the path of a citizen, you went into the path of somebody on a pavement and the person died, or you damage your car in a certain way and that kind of thing, and whether or not you can take action against the state, the answer is yes, you can, right? Because if, for instance, for those who live or traverse that Mova area, that Lady Young Avenue and Lady Young Old Road and that kind of thing, and you know the state of the road in front of Market School goes straight up to Matapal or probably straight up to Park Street, the state of the road there, you would know that that has been so for the better part of 3 or 4 years. And people are mashing up their cars there. Accidents are taking place there as we speak. Accidents are taking place there. But I am not hearing nobody suing the state, right? Or the regional corporation or whatever. Now, they ought to know that based on the state of the road there, especially in night, people can't drive on the right-hand side, right? Sorry, the left-hand side, and will go over on the other side of the road in the path of oncoming vehicles, which could cause serious accident. And therefore, so I'm saying all of this. I didn't move away from I didn't move away from the discussion. I didn't move away from the issue of the lawsuit or the impending lawsuit, Freedom Chambers' impending lawsuit against the THA. But I'm saying all this to say that the THA would have been sued because the THA may be the defendant that may have the money, the man who caused the death of the young lady by his irresponsibility or whatever. He might be a co-defendant, but he may not necessarily be, he might be a man of straw. And therefore, he may not have the financial wherewithal to defend himself in a way where he may be responsible for paying probably millions of dollars to the family of the Jogi family. And therefore, the alternative is to sue the state or to sue the THA. So you see how things just go. Clearly, the THA could be found negligent in the fact that they knew of this situation that was developing. They had a previous incident before. They didn't have the necessary barriers to stop jet skis from coming into the part of bathers, and all of that was an accident waiting to happen, and an accident for which in fact happened. And in that case, the family is suing. And so that's the next situation that we, I like to look at these situations, dig deeper into it. That is the next situation that could mirror other things that or open the eyes of the public as to what they can do when situations like this happen. So, a gentleman suing from a pothole, he ran off the road and he killed somebody on a pavement. You might think, well, he was driving dangerously. He was driving dangerously. He should be held responsible. He should be charged for manslaughter or whatever. But he would not have been on that side of the road had it not for the pothole or the situation in the road that caused him to come on the other side of the road. And therefore, he can't fix the road all by himself. So think about it like this. The person who might be ultimately responsible, or the party that might be ultimately responsible, or might be a co-defendant in this matter, would be the state. Under negligence, under thought. So think about it like this. This is the same thing that happened there. And it is very easy to understand sometimes why people don't do it, because they don't know. Why people don't sue sometimes, they don't know. Or sometimes they just don't have the finance to do it. Or they see it as negligence. You go down in a pothole, you mash up your vehicle, but that pothole was there. The state must have known that was there all the time. And that was there for years. And some would argue that, well, they don't really care about that, because at the end of the day when they get sued, it's not their money, it's your money paying for it anyway. It's taxpayers' money going and pay for it anyway. And that, to a large extent, is how, most institutions of the state sometimes think. Right? It ain't coming out of their pocket. That's taxpayers' money had to pay that at some point in time. Because if you sue and you win, of course, you have other kind of redress to get your money. Even if the state do have money, you have a redress that you could get your money. Right? A lot of people don't use it. Don't exercise those things. But you can get your money if you feel that the state does not want to pay you. I just see. So, I want to hear what you have to say about that Tobago issue, and also what you feel about what I would have just said with respect to negligence and the state. The number to call is 342-0081 or 466-5391. Call me and, let me hear what your situation is. Let me hear what you have to say about this particular issue. And, let me hear what you have to say about this particular issue, and let's take it from there. Right? But a number of things are in the news, and we can certainly talk about them also. If you choose to just call and talk about that, we can also do that. What do you have to say? Call and let's hear what you have to say. Yeah, caller.
Hey, good day. Tobago, June, young June. It's a really sad place. Yeah, man, really, really sad. But as you said, you know, the THA was aware of what could have happened years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I think, as a matter of fact, some years ago, a bill was being prepared to stop something like this, but it was just shelved.
Mm-hmm.
So the THA is fully well aware. And I hope that, well, we know a pre-action protocol letter was sent,
Mm-hmm.
and I hope that this matter would not even reach the courts, and that some settlement would be reached with his family.
Well, we don't know what is asked. I didn't see it. I don't know if I read everything, but I didn't see what is asked in the pre-action, what kind of loss or what kind of settlement.
Well, the daughter was killed. The mother was injured and had to stay home, I think it was about 5 or 6 weeks. And then you have to understand, and the father also was injured and he had to stay home, I think it was 4 to 5 weeks also.
And plus they have other loss that, the loss of
plus you have, the emotional loss.
And suffering.
And it was a young person, a young bright girl who was killed.
Mm-hmm.
Then the other daughter was also there, who was privy to see exactly what went on, another young daughter. But it's not every case that you should fight in court. You must know who right and who wrong, and deal with it.
And what is the common denominator with that and probably the Hardy situation? What is the common denominator?
I
don't know. You had our money.
Oh yeah, but no. These are different things. I don't know if Anand say
he do not pro bono or whatever.
Pro bono, you don't know.
But what I'm saying is, at the end of the day, somebody had to be paid, and at the end of the day, for you to even know if you have a case, you have to go and talk to somebody who would charge you, and so you go down in a big pothole. And you damage your car, you spend $20,000, $30,000
Madison,
to fix that.
Madison, I think it's unfair. You hear me?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's unfair to even put a pothole and jogi in the same sentence.
No. I'm just using a kind of analogy. I'm saying clearly, just now, listen, hear what I'm saying. I'm saying clearly, and I'm breaking it down, because clearly...
No, I understand what you're saying. I understand fully what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm saying that people sometimes does not understand what they have the right to do.
All right?
To make the state or persons who should be held responsible more responsible. Right? And I'm saying, I always use the example of that piece of road in Mova. That in a state for the last 3 years, right? Bad state. Sometimes you can't even drive. I saw some people came out and put cement in the road the other day, and it come back to the same situation as we're inside the fort in front of that schoolhouse building, that big schoolhouse building. And it's as if, I mean, how much it would take to fix that piece of road, boy?
Mm-hmm.
People could die on that road. I've seen countless accidents there. How much you think it will take to fix that?
Drive down Charlotte Street, huh?
Huh?
You drive down Charlotte Street.
Nah, but that street is free to drive down any night.
Well, but that's a main street in Port of Spain. The busiest street in Port of Spain. And I can have holes for so, deep holes.
Yeah. Right?
But
what I'm
all
saying
over Trinidad.
Huh? Yeah.
All over Trinidad.
That's unfortunate. That's really, really unfortunate because
maybe what the government could do is have us like a small claims court to deal with issues like this. Right? Where you don't have to hire no big lawyer. You take pictures, you write a letter to, it could be a city corporation, it could be the military at work. You take pictures, you get your mechanics estimate, you send that in, they do the investigation. Put aside something or form where you cannot go through the normal court system to apply from because your car going in a hole and your truck smash up, you're paying a lawyer $5,000 to get back $2,000 or $3,000.
This is what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. yeah. Which is one of the reasons why people don't really take them things very seriously. But in the case of you serving from a pothole or serving from a piece of bad road and you run off the road and you kill somebody, right? You're going and get a manslaughter or something, right?
Yeah. But you saw the incident yesterday in Marbella?
No. What
okay, well, it wasn't a pothole, but this guy got a bad drive and he swerved and bounced on the woman, I think was 65 or 75 years old.
Yes.
And she died.
I think I heard about that. Yeah.
You know? So that was a bad drive, but it could have been a pothole in some instances. You're driving, you see a pothole, you swerve, you bounce somebody down.
Or you go down in the pothole and you lose control.
And you lose control. You know, it happens.
I've seen that already.
Somebody has to pay for that.
Yeah. So yeah, those are situations those are serious things, and you know, people need to know that you can get redress, albeit, but sometimes the cost of getting that redress outweighs the benefit.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the problem. That's why, you know, people get away with certain things, right?
Because I want to ask one question.
Because you are going to wait on no cooperation, no 10 months for them to fix something that you need your car to drop it into school or to do whatever it is, pull bull or whatever it is do with it tomorrow. You ain't going to wait no 10 months to get nothing. So one of the reasons why people don't do, that's one of the reasons why people don't do anything. People just, you know, say, well, it is what it is.
I want to ask you a question, Madison.
Mm-hmm.
In the papers, they talk about an 8-year-old girl, I think it was 8 or 9 years old.
Mm-hmm.
She was raped by, the papers are saying, the grandfather.
Mm-hmm.
And the mother, this child is 8, I think it's 8 or 9 years old. The mother is 18 years old.
What? 18 years old.
The question I want to ask is who, understand the question, eh?
Yeah.
The mother is 18 years old. The child is 8 or 9 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So the mother would have made that child at 10 years old. 11 years, somewhere around there.
10, 11 years old.
The question I want to ask is who is the father for that child?
Well, more than that. You'll want to ask more than that. You'll want to ask how that child was delivered, how that child, I mean, did that child go through the system? Was anybody questioned or charged for rape or anything like that? With respect to that?
Yeah. Which child?
Huh?
The 18-year-old.
The 18-year-old?
Yeah. So, in my mind, if the grandfather could have raped the grandchild,
mm-hmm.
where did that child come from? You know, and I personally need to ask.
Yeah.
So if proper investigation was done 8 years ago, maybe this could have been avoided.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. Maybe it's the same grandfather. I don't know. I just speculated.
But that could be an answer.
Mm-hmm.
And if at 10 years old, this girl made this child, what was done? Again, in Trinidad and Tobago, once intelligence and forensic is concerned, our police is failures.
Yeah, big time.
And our next child suffers because of that.
Was it even reported to the police in the first place? I mean, that's the question. You know, the state of our role. I mean, how people is coming in the world and they just had to go in a hospital to make a baby and that kind of thing?
And once the child is underage, police are supposed to be informed.
Yeah, social workers, you know, all that kind of thing.
Yes, sorry.
Plus, you have school. The child might have been in school. All kind of different issues, you know, come up there. So, you know, it will be interesting to hear what the people who know more might have to say about it. They may know what happened or what should happen in a situation like this, But clearly, that is something that is frightening.
Yeah. And these are children.
Because you're not even saying a 16-year-old or a 17-year-old. You're saying a 9-year-old or a 10-year-old.
Yeah. And these are children we expect to grow up normal in life.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
I mean, ask yourself why things are happening, why there's so much crime, why there's so much people who are, or young people that are so, lashing out, that are so ruthless.
Yeah. Yeah. You know? Some children have no happiness at all.
Yeah,
None.
Ruthless, angry.
You know? And we as citizens need to understand that every citizen is important to our country.
Correct.
Not because you're supporting yellow or you're supporting red. Every citizen is important.
Only today I was telling a client that in the sphere of HR, when you are an HR person, you have to see, you can't see colors, you can't see none of them. You have to see people. And once you see, you are responsible for both the employer and the employee. You advocate for both of them. So when things happen bad in the organization with workers, you have to also stand up for those workers too. Right?
Right, correct.
Because the system is not, the system must be equitable, it must be objective, and therefore I don't want to just go off what we're talking about and just go into HR, but it's anyhow you take it, it's people be managing, whether it's a government or a company, it's people we dealing with here, we're not dealing with robots.
Yeah.
And therefore everybody should have the same alienable and otherwise rights to be given or experience the same set of principles, the same set of safety, the same set of everything in Trinidad and Tobago, everybody. Which is why I sometimes have so much problems with people taking advantage of people in the workplace and that kind of thing. A serious problem with that. And therefore, you're correct about the police. The police must have a role in this particular situation. But before it reaches the police, you have the school, you have the hospital, you have social workers, you have all these things. If we don't have the proper systems, we don't have the systems with social workers and that kind of thing, then we will have these kind of problems. These things will fall through the crack, and apparently a lot of it is happening.
Oh, yeah, what thing then?
Huh?
Sorry.
You heard what I said?
Let me give somebody a chance to call.
Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, we were talking about the situation in Tobago as it relates to the impending lawsuit against the THA and that little child, Angelica Jogi, that was killed a couple months ago with a jet ski. A gentleman riding a jet ski. He was arrested hours later, home in his bed, but I don't think he was, I'm not too sure if he was charged or if he had been before the court as yet. But in any case, that's a criminal matter, and that will be a criminal matter if that happens. But civil, I should say the state or Tobago House of Assembly and the Heritage Park is going to be sued, or there's an impending lawsuit where pre-action protocol letter was served on them. I'm not too sure what the details of it is and what they are looking for, because that pre-action would usually state that. But that was served on the THA, and certainly we are waiting to see how that ends. Because what they are certainly saying is that the THA ought to have known that that kind of accident could happen. And if they ought to have known that, and they know that, and it happened already before, and nothing was put in place to provide the kind of safety to people who are bathing on the beach in that area, then of course they will or could be held liable. And we are seeing that is happening now. So I would like to hear what you have to say about that particular issue, because that to me is another serious issue that is before us, and that is to me is another serious issue that is percolating right now in Trinidad and Tobago. And I would like to hear what you have to say about it. You can call me on 342-0081 or 466-5391. Call, let's have a little discussion on it. This is the Third Empire, by the way, and I always like to look at the things, the articles in the newspaper that are trending, and we don't write the articles, but we have discussion on them, and to me that is important. I saw there's a lot of hoorah about the government data center project, about the cost and the need for it and that kind of thing. I think that's a kind of asinine discussion again, because Trinidad and Tobago, we always see on this program that we operate blindly to a large extent with everything, the administration of everything, to a large extent operate blindly. Right? We have very, 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 very poor management, very, very, very poor productivity. We spend a lot of money, in the states spend a lot of money that they don't necessarily need to spend. We have bad actors all around in state-owned enterprises, bad management. We have all kind of problems. And then we have people who work exponentially hard in these same places, and they are not necessarily rewarded for it. And they feel sometimes that they're between a rock and a hard place. But a data center or AI and all that kind of thing could certainly help Trinidad and Tobago in ways that you and all could experience and see better things from it. So sometimes the things we fight, sometimes the things we fight against, sometimes are the things that it is like when the Patrick Manning administration wanted to implement certain things in Trinidad and Tobago to deal with taxation and all the other things that would have streamlined society in a different kind of place. We had a lot of fight against it. Things that are necessary, things that would help but make Trinidad and Tobago a different place, and things that would streamline things in a way that would make service to the people easier. I think we should think it through before we talk the kind of nonsense we talk sometimes. And certainly this situation is one of them. I don't know for those who would have read the article and who would have seen what is being proposed, what they have to say about it. But clearly, Trinidad and Tobago is not in a good place where the dispensation of services in particular. And if we could get most of our services, if we could reduce the time we bring service to the people by at least 50% of what it is today, Trinidad and Tobago will be a much better place in terms of productivity. It will be in a much better place in terms of foreign direct investment, people wanting to come and invest in Trinidad and Tobago, people wanting to come and do things, people want to come and work and that kind of thing, bring different ideas, change our reality. Trinidad and Tobago certainly will be a better place. And things like what is being proposed with respect to this data center, I think it is necessary that we understand what the benefits of those things can bring to Trinidad and Tobago. every day we talk about how the state and the state of affairs as it relates to getting service from the state. Some time ago, we were reading that that passports to even get an appointment sometimes take months, right? Sometimes you might need to travel. You may need to travel as a matter of urgency, and it is difficult to even, a lot of people may not be traveling this year because they aren't able to get the necessary appointments, and it has to do a lot with corruption also, because when we were looking at that particular situation a couple of weeks ago, the question was asked, if I can't get the appointment when I want it, a certain time, or I can't get dealt with one time, how is it I'm able to get it if I pay for it? Or if I pay $1,000 for it? It really doesn't make sense, right? So clearly, it all comes down to either corruption or money or something like that. My friend who listens to us every day in New York, she was telling me that she a couple nights ago, she went up online and she applied for her driver's permit renewal, and after she made the application and she paid, she automatically was told that she could drive the next day with it. And a few days after, she actually got the permit in the mail. This is where we need to be, and these things are not very difficult to achieve. These things are not very difficult to do in any way. If we have all centralized data, we have everything on everybody, what happened in real time, then it would make life much more easier. We'll have less traffic on the road. We'll have less people standing up in government offices. We'll have less problems. We'll have less corruption even, because people wouldn't have to pay for things that they ought not to be paying for, right? Double and triple what the real cost is. And the state will be making more money, and everything will be running smoothly. But sometimes we aren't able to rationalize within ourselves when we hear the kind of money government has to spend to do certain things, what that would end the benefit that would that those kind of things will bring. And so we see those things as trivial, we see these things as unnecessary, without understanding the big picture, without understanding how the kind of productivity, as I tell someone today, better productivity equal more money for the state. If we have people firing on all the pistons, you have more money coming into the state. And these are the things sometimes we just aren't able to conceptualize or even reason. Good evening, caller. Caller, good evening. Caller?
Good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon.
Hello?
Yes, I'm hearing you. You are not hearing me, but I'm hearing you. Caller? Right. Well, if you were calling us on that phone, and the numbers to call us on is 342-0081 or 466-5391. Those are the two numbers that you can get us on. I'm getting the impression that we have some problems with one of our phone lines, because callers are calling us, but they are not hearing us. You can call us on 466-5391 and talk to us. Right? But I was simply saying that, yes, let me take the call here. Good evening, caller. Caller, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Yes, good evening.
Great program as usual.
Yeah.
It's amazing to see the state we are. Like when you travel, you see these old people with their phones doing different things with their phones paying for the grocery bill, looking for different aisles in grocery.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? To see where things are.
Yeah, we see that you're going to a particular aisle and you didn't see nobody by that aisle. You just Go to the aisle. You go to aisle. Sometimes you go to island. Island in the grocery where when you travel abroad, where there are no cashier, just a machine, and you use the barcode and you pass your goods in it. It tells you what's the cost, and then you put your phone and you pay for it, and you walk out the grocery.
Yeah, and you see old people doing these things abroad.
Yeah.
You understand? And the thing about it, we have had politicians traveling all the time. And they see these things going on abroad, that and a lot of other things too as well. Right? And, they come back here and I don't know if it is they never try to introduce certain level of education for the people, especially all the people, even the older ones, right? Look how our people here, the older ones, could hardly use a phone properly. Some of them can text, they can WhatsApp, they can do different things, and and these people, I mean, it's a simple thing. Look at our education. When you have things like diarrhea and so on, how many people know to use G-salt to rehydrate yourself so that you wouldn't get dizzy and just want to lie down and things like that? They don't really educate us properly, especially in the health sector. You understand?
Well, I always say.
And you always bring up a good point about making these sweet things more expensive, which is a very good point you just bring up. You understand? To try to curb the population in a certain way. Because if you watch the amount of sweet things that these children buy early in the morning and load themselves with that amount of sugar.
I always say that. I always say that, Kola. I always say that.
Yeah, no, you just always say that. You just always say that, yeah.
Listen to me. I always say that not just the state, I mean, parents, you yourself, you have a responsibility. I mean, the state don't even, I mean, apart from what the state have to do, because the state have an ultimate responsibility to guide and to change culture and to change the way we think and see things, and taste and that kind of thing. And we talk about that in relation to the making certain goods very high and exorbitant and out of the reach of the people who shouldn't be having it. And taking that same money, not just making it expensive, but taking back that money and putting it back into the hospitals and thing where you will ultimately reach if you're using it.
Exactly.
Right? But more than that, you as a citizen,
parent,
as a parent, or even as a child, we're not void of understanding or knowledge of what's going on outside there, even though we may not have traveled. Right? You could go on YouTube and Google anything, Go on YouTube and type anything you want to learn, you want to find out about, and you will see hundreds of articles on it, hundreds of videos on it, how to do it. You could solve some of your problems that way too. And I'm saying.
And what you talk about, like with the license, how easy it is to renew your passport and your license and things like that.
Yeah.
We had to go through so much stages and then, I mean, look at our situation right now with the passport.
It just jokey, eh?
Boy,
it just jokey.
I hope. I mean, I know it have some serious brothers. I mean, you doing a good job, and it have others doing some very good job in writing different things and trying to advise people. And I mean, but they're not reaching where they can be heard properly.
I think you have some very good people on both sides in government too. And I think a lot of these things are being worked on right now also. I really truly believe that. Because I know Dominic, the guy in charge of AI and that kind of thing in Trinidad and Tobago, the minister, I know him personally, and I know they are doing what they should be doing. But sometimes the system itself does not allow for things to happen in a timely way. To sometimes you have bureaucracy and what they might call not called bureaucracy, like sometimes the system to procure things, the OPR and all that kind of thing. All these things sometimes create bugbears to be able to do certain things. And for good reasons, because you had a lot of corrupt people in the past, they still have some. And those things kind of protect the state in a significant way, protect your money and my money in a significant way. But those things also, the way it is implemented, sometimes cause the things to happen or to delay longer than it should delay to bring that kind of service, necessary service to the people. And other things in the system that are very onerous sometimes, and which create a lot of delays for things to be done. So it is not for want of better thinking, because there are politicians who think have some of these things. I mean, Manin was a man who he had a lot of great ideas. Some of these things never came to fruition because of the same thing that we're talking about. Sometimes there are politicians too. They fight things that they know. They oppose things that they know is good.
It's a war in itself.
So everything is a war.
You
have public servants who do the same thing. They don't support one thing.
They support one party too because of that.
Correct. Yeah, people in state-owned enterprises do the same thing too. They fight the board, they fight.
The fight down.
So is that kind of Trinidad and Tobago thing, boy? Is that kind of Trinidad and Tobago thing? It's like crabs in a barrel, right through. But it's a sad thing.
It's a sad thing. But look at the potholes, for instance. I heard Jolene John said they repair so much of potholes, and a lot of the potholes that were there before elections just getting bigger and bigger, and I not see that in a lot of areas. You understand? As I call that spoke earlier about Charlotte Street too.
Yeah.
You understand? It's such a busy street, and when you have to slow down for a whole, that causes a whole long line of traffic.
I saw a headline. I saw a headline on the newspapers. I think it was yesterday or day before, where a man standing up in a pothole, and it was about 3 feet, you know.
Yeah. True.
But it's you don't have them kind of potholes on secondary roads in Trinidad and Tobago. It had them kind of potholes. If your car go down in it,
you have to be real careful.
Listen, if your car go down in that pothole, let's say rain falling and the pothole full. Let's say rain falling and the pothole full, and your car go down in it. You know you're staying there, right?
Yes, exactly, and you're damaging yourself bad too.
You're damaging yourself, you're damaging your car. So what's the problem? Just you have so much government vehicles. You have so much. I'm trying to figure out.
I saw in New York, right? A pickup with a bigger type of pickups with a hook on with a little trailer behind. Man come, they clean all the holes, they put the tar, they put the pitch and they ram it with a rammer one time and go on.
I see that happen in Chicago. I see that happen in Chicago a couple of years ago.
Yes.
In no time, they fix the place smooth enough.
It's just about 4 men, I think, the driver and 3 men.
But I saw it happen in Chicago with 1 man. That man put up at a big, something like a big crane thing, and he come out and he start operating the crane in the back, and it have everything in it.
Right.
You ever see WhatsApp? You ever see WhatsApp fixing the road in the night? You see about 100 men standing up in all kinds of suit, and you have 2 men in a hole digging.
Right, and the packers, they do tie, so when the cars pass, and
the next day, rainfall and it's pothole all over and thing.
Yeah, pothole, yes, exactly.
So what's the value of that work that they do the night before?
So
to the people.
And the thing is, these people that travel and see these things, you understand? How much these machines cost? How much a machine like that could cost? How much for that could do in different areas in the country, east, west, north, south? You understand?
So we losing productivity, we losing the citizens, and we damaging people's car. We just going around in a circle in Trinidad and Tobago. Going around in a circle with everything. Craziness,
Right.
real craziness. And nobody seems to be thinking about it in the way that it should be thought about.
True. Nobody. Anyway, take care, my brother. And concerning the jet ski, I think they should have a kind of net barricade, something away from where people bathe in. There shouldn't just be a little rope, because anybody can lose control of it. And the people who are going to ride the jet ski, who rented the jet ski, supposed to ensure that people are normal, and I don't think it should be in an area where people bathing either.
But a couple
just
of years
ago, can't stop a jet ski.
A couple of years
You
ago,
understand?
well, just about 2 years ago, sometime I was in Tobago, and I saw in that particular, well, it was on Storby, I saw the buoys and the demarcation. But where
that can stop it.
Well, yeah, I mean, it should be something more than that. But I saw it was in the water, so I don't know if when this accident took place, I don't know if when this accident took place, if that was available or if that was there. But I did see it at some point in time. But what would have happened there is sad, and clearly...
It's a sad situation, and that can happen to anybody. I mean, you know.
And clearly the THA would be held or could be held liable, and well, we're seeing that they are being sued now, right? So, earlier on I was talking about, I was drawing a reference with that and what could happen should something like that happen on the roads of Trinidad and Tobago. Where a pothole is concerned, that too could be something that, you know, you could sue the government for.
That would be great, because then we remember, they say when we put gas, we also pay a certain percentage of road tax.
Yeah, we're paying for that. You're paying. You know what money you pay for on the road?
Right. The inspector wants us.
Every vehicle you purchase, brand new or otherwise, almost 60% of that is taxes, you know.
Tax, yes.
Import duty, all kind of duties, taxes,
and then
that kind of.
And then every time you put gas, a percentage of that is taxed.
So let me say about a vehicle for $100,000, you're paying 60,000 from that going back to the government, and then you're paying for a license, you're paying for you're paying all kind of things to be on the road, you're paying insurance and all that kind of thing, and then you drive out and you mash up your vehicle because the road bad. It makes no
ridiculous.
sense. It makes no sense.
Yes, we have to get Anand going on that.
Well, we ain't sure if you do that, but
anyways.
But at the end of the day, people Trinidad and Tobago, people need to feel safe. People need to. There are things citizens just can't do that really is left for the state, and it's other units like the regional corporation and that kind of thing to do. And if that is not done, then you're not really doing what you're supposed to be doing for the citizens.
Because the other thing I'm watching that too, remember it was the UNC who had bulldozed all those lands there where blue waters are and destroyed people's crops, and Trinidad got a bad name for destroying food, and you know that was very well needed.
That was where? What are you talking about?
Orange Grove, where blue waters got.
Oh, all right, yes.
Right. So when the government changed, maybe I don't know, something when they said they were doing it for HEC, right, and they destroy real crops. We got a bad name from other countries who thought that could be destroying crops and things like that.
But you watching what's going on? You watching what's going on from Grand
No, but what I'm saying from watching how the kind of building going up to.
Yeah, that was farmland in the back there once, you know. I just wonder how that's happening on both sides of the road highway, by the way.
All of Cascade, Bonvito, where they build all those big, massive buildings and so on. All that was agricultural land.
Yeah.
That was supposed to be, you know. Anyways, we'll watch and see. Take care and all the best, man. We just have to hope for the best, but we have some good men behind the scenes working. I know one or two men working real hard, and I hope not red or yellow. They are red, white, and black.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
And they're working very hard. Yeah. Take care and all the best, man.
Thank you. I know some good people also who are really working tirelessly and fighting and talking all the time for Trinidad and Tobago to see changes. I know some very small islands that are doing things that I'm surprised we aren't able to do in Trinidad and Tobago. Good evening, caller.
Good evening, caller. Yeah, Matheson, good evening, good evening. Let me talk quickly. All right. Chris mentioned something earlier on about the prisoners and things. It's true. A lot of prisoners just get to come out and do banking, go home for birthday party, the children party. And this is documented thing. This was on the news before. It had a prison officer. He bring a batch of mason from prison, and they was putting up a wall by he.
Okay.
And the neighbors light him up. Neighbors see police prison van come and a set of prisoners come and they putting up a wall by the man house. So these is real things. A man going in the bank. He say he see a prison van outside, but he find it strange a prison van outside the banking system. But he gone in. And when he line up, he see neighbor who he know gone in for murder in the line. Withdrawing money.
Okay.
So all animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than
George Orwell.
Than others, right?
George Orwell. But the thing is, at the end of the day...
Well, at least my partner go get to see the World Cup home. But let me see. I have some things to say again. The child that was raped at 8 years old, the grandfather could be the father of the child too.
Yeah, I mean, I see that too.
Right? The dots connecting to that. And Annan would I do this case for the Tobago, the accident in Tobago pro bono?
Yeah, probably.
Because you're hearing who they're calling. It's not a private man and they're calling the THA name.
Yeah,
when you sue the state, your money guarantee.
Yeah, they're not going to the Manastro.
We big and we are sense.
Yeah, they're not going to the Manastro.
They're going in Manastro. No. He going at the THA. And that he knows that's a guarantee payout. Yeah.
So
what issue again you come out with, boy? The roads real bad. The roads very bad. I see you mention about the data center. You're for it. I want to be the devil's advocate and say no. We can provide a decent supply of water and electricity. These things are vacuums for that.
Well, I believe
huge vacuums.
I believe he could walk and chew gum at the same time.
So, well, they just always say that, eh? They always say that. But you see, the people who won this, like the higher politicians and prime ministers, they get a comfortable check to lobby for these things. So they're only concerned about pushing it. But when it happens, they would be migrated to our next country and the residents them have hell to catch. That's the reality. You understand? Okay. So we might end up like Cuba and you're only getting 2 hours a day, you'll get electricity, and you'll get once a month, you'll get water supply. No, it's you laugh because you know it's true. We're making up nothing here. This is Trinidad, you know, partner. This is Trinidad, you know. You understand? Everybody has got a slap on the wrist. You see my partner Hadid see the match? They give him a vacation with pay.
No, well, other prisoners might have seen the match, you say me?
Well, you don't know if the fella have... No, to see the match, you have to have a special internet to see the game.
So this
is just...
You're saying that they don't
This
have...
is just random.
Okay.
You have to have a good package to show that game.
Yeah, but in prison, I mean, the prison service may have... you might have prison officers living in there, you know. I mean, when I say living, they stay
Of course. Well, I want to tell you about the same thing what Chris was talking about. I'm glad you mentioned that. It have men in prison don't want to come out of prison. No. When you talk to a convict, and he tell you that, watch me, men claim over $10,000 and $20,000 a month in the prison. The men that want to come out there is $100 a cigarette. Right?
Yeah,
and here what they're using as money.
Man don't live by bread alone, so you're not feeling for a woman?
Well, them fellas and them, watch me. The sex you get in prison is prison, and that is understood. When you're outside, the sex is outside. That's the reality, right?
I just
right?
saying.
The man, I look at plenty prison documentary, and the man had a man in his cell, and he say, I'm not gay. He say, I got wife and I got kids outside. But when I'm in here, this is my woman. But I'm not gay. You understand?
Okay.
So they use the phone card system to barter and trade. So you put money on my phone, and you get goods, you get your drugs, you get your cigarettes, and then that code is sent outside.
Yeah. And
that person takes the money to a Western Union or one of them places on him, and withdraws the money. Yeah. So that's what men is hire big lawyer, and inside they have $1, but they're hiring big lawyer. Because the trade in the prison nice.
Yeah, correct. I agree with you. I agree with you.
All right, you have a good evening, man. We're going to take any little few minutes off it.
Yes. Okay, take care. Yeah? So, Bata, I see you've been calling us all the time. If you could get in a few seconds. But we are on the final seconds of the program anyway. And certainly we would want to wish everyone a happy and safe evening. And we will see you certainly tomorrow. Tomorrow, of course, this is the Third Empire, and we talk about issues, we analyze the news, and we bring it to you, and we allow for you to join in. And if you are, for the first time you are listening to the program, we allow for you to join in and share those discussions with us, your experience relative to the issue that we are talking about. So we are on our last second. We will see you tomorrow. Thank you.
Tune in to the Street 919 FM for Gospel in the Bone Ministry every Sunday from 7